Okay, folks, as I said, you're all very welcome. Colin McNamee is my name, and I'm joined by Sarah McLaughlin. The purpose of today's webinar is just to provide an update. We're a week out of Use and Learn now, and what we want to do is to provide an update on just some of the learnings and experience that ourselves, end users at pharmacy and hospital level, and MAHs are experiencing over the course of the last week or so. Just from a housekeeping perspective, we're going to keep everybody on mute for now. There will be a Q&A session, and please feel free while I'm speaking to post your questions if you have any into the chat or into the Q&A box within Zoom. And as I said, we'll stop the recording before we deal with the questions. So what I'm going to tackle, and our intent is to have me speaking for no more than 15 or 20 minutes. Just some key updates, some key messages that we've been sending out, and you've probably seen some of those messages in our emails over the course of the last few days. Just a little bit of talk about scanning and alerts and alert investigation. A couple of reminders just about returns and dealing with the HPRA. And then, like I said, conclusion and Q&A session. There will be an extensive backup slide pack to this slide deck where we provide information about the life cycle of the scan and alert help pages, and using our alert help, and also using NMVS alerts. Glossary, the original plan for ending Use and Learn, just to show you how we got here. Some info on level 1 to 5 classification of alerts and exceptions, which I'll talk about that shortly. How to access information using an operation code, which is the code that is given back by our FMD software, and also a summary of the IMVO alert management guidance. So a couple of key updates, and this is based on the messaging that has gone out over the course of the last week or so between and agreed between ourselves and the HPRA. So exempt medicinal products, we would have said, if any of you have attended our webinars throughout the build up to the end of Use and Learn, that EMPs or ULMs, unlicensed medicines, are tricky from the point of view of FMD on the basis that they are they can come from within the EEA, they can be UK only packs, or they can come from outside the EEA. So we have now agreed a pretty standard management of exempt medicinal products, or ULMs. So if you know the pack is a ULM, don't scan it, as the IMVS may not recognize the pack because the data may not be uploaded in it. If you inadvertently scan a ULM and get an alert, you may still supply that pack, unless you have overriding concerns that a falsified medicine is involved, or you believe that the pack has been interfered with, or the pack is flagged as expired, recalled, withdrawn, stolen, or destroyed. So obviously they are different statuses that if they were returned back in the scan, that we would ask you to withhold that pack and contact us. Obviously, always check the anti-tampering device if there is one. There won't always be an anti-tampering device on a ULM, but certainly if there is one, check it. And if you have any reason to believe that the pack has been interfered with, please report this to the HPRA as a product quality defect and do not supply the pack. Utrogestion 100 milligram and 200 milligram capsules. You may or may not be aware that utrogestion has caused probably 25 to 30% of alerts across Ireland in the last couple of weeks. And essentially, if pharmacies scan and receive alerts for these 4 utrogestion batches, they may supply the packs to a patient under the existing procedures, unless they have overriding concerns that a falsified medicine is involved. If a pharmacist has reason to believe that the packaging has been interfered with, based on their examination of the anti-tamper device in the pack, they must report their concern to the HPRA as a suspected quality defect via the usual reporting mechanisms and not supply the pack. So the bottom line with these particular 4 batches of utrogestion is it has been brought into the country from outside the EU and was marked for export because it was sent outside the EU beforehand. So the bottom line is, if you scan and receive alerts for these batches, then you can continue to supply the pack. As they're ULMs, we have said you don't need to scan these packs. So just to be aware that that is the position with regard to utrogestion. If you do go into NMBS alerts, we're closing all the alerts associated with heat suggestion within NMBS alerts on a daily basis. So to move to scanning and alerts, so particularly some of the questions that we've been asked, and I just want to provide a little bit of reminders about scan responses and alerts. When you verify or decommission a pack, your FMD software displays a response which contains text and is color coded, be that green, amber, or red, depending on the outcome of the scan. Amber and red responses indicate that there is some mismatch between the information from the scan and what is in the IMVS. Not all of the red or amber responses represent potential falsifications, only level 5 alerts. There is some information in the backup slide. So essentially what it means is any mismatch or any question that the data has between the data that is being picked up in your scanner and the data that resides within the IMVS, if there's any mismatch, the scale of that mismatch is graded on a level 1 to 5 classification. Only those level 5 alerts are what the IMVS, what our database thinks when it compares what it has to what has come up in the scan as there could be a problem here, this could be a potential falsification. So those alerts will always include the words "an alert has been raised" and have a unique alert ID. And you'll see there an example of, in most instances, it will start with the letters IE because they're products that are uploaded into the IMVS for sale in the Irish market, and then a string of alphanumeric characters. Level 5 alerts are automatically notified to IMVO ourselves, the MAH for the product, and the HPRA. Level 5 alerts must be investigated to rule out falsifications. So some examples of those type of level 5 alerts. The batch isn't found. That would realistically, so that means the product is an FMD product. 2 most likely root causes: a scanner or software issue where the scanner has not picked up or has muddled up what it has read and is pushing up to poll our database, or it has scanned it correctly, but for some reason the data doesn't exist in our database because it hasn't been uploaded by the MAH. Another one is the pack not found or the serial number unknown, again for similar reasons. The scanner or software issue isn't sending up exactly what the database expects it to see, or the data has not been uploaded by MAH. At pack level, that's highly unlikely, can still happen, but it's unlikely and certainly the least likely root cause. The pack has already been decommissioned in another location. So these 2 in particular, the next 2 are what we would see as the most common end user procedural errors, where the pack has been decommissioned in another location, where it has been received in a decommissioned state from another pharmacy or from a wholesaler. We see this with borrowings in particular, where borrowings within a locality from one pharmacy to another, or borrowings within a group from a pharmacy within a group to another within a group, where the pack may have, as a result of procedural error, been decommissioned before it was handed over to the pharmacy that wants to borrow it. What we would strongly recommend, if you can, is to, if you are borrowing a pack, just verify it when you receive it. So just do a verification scan. If it is decommissioned, you can ask the people that, the location that you're getting the pack from, did you by any chance decommission this as a result of a procedural error? The pack has already been decommissioned in the same location. So challenges there are obviously, and the most likely root cause of that is just a procedural error where a pack has been scanned on multiple occasions. It could also be scanner or software issue, but certainly our experience would say that it is most likely a procedural error. Happens a lot with bulk or split packs, and our guidance on that is that a bulk or split pack is only scanned the first time it's opened. So that's the only time that the bulk or split pack is to be scanned. The other example of a level 5 alert is a batch ID mismatch, which again can be scanner or software issues, where the scanner is just not, is again mixing up in some way what it's reading, and therefore it's not matching perfectly what's in the IMVS database. So what do you do next if you get these type of scans? So the first thing is there will be a link within your FMD software to the IMVO alert help page, and there's more information about that that will be in the backup slides, and we've gone through that at all our webinars over the course of the last number of weeks. So you click on the link, and that will bring you to a series of yes/no questions, which should, if the error is at your location, allow you to identify the root cause. If you do identify the root cause, it will ask you to record the root cause in NMVS alerts and tell you most likely that you're in a position to get that pack back to saleable stock. If you can't identify a root cause, set the pack aside until you're informed of the outcome of the MAH's investigation, because they're running an investigation in parallel. Keep the pack in the pharmacy or hospital until the MAH or the HPRA advises you what to do next. That's at the sort of extreme end where, for some reason, nobody has been in a position to identify a root cause. And most importantly, if in doubt, and if you have any further questions, contact IMVO if you need any further assistance. Some examples of non-level 5 exceptions. So there are times when you will still get an alert. It will still tell you that the pack cannot be supplied, but it won't give you that alert code because it's telling you something different. It's not a level 5 potential falsification. So the product code isn't known, and I have a full slide on how to deal with that next, but essentially, as we've scanned a barcode on a non-FMD pack, medical device, over the counter, or some of the ULMs that we've been speaking about from outside the EU. If the batch was recalled, the IMVS system will have been informed that the batch has been recalled or the pack has been recalled, and as a result, it's going to tell you you can't supply the pack. Another non-level 5 is the pack cannot be reactivated because the time limit has exceeded. So if you decommission a pack for supply and for some reason the pack isn't supplied, so the patient decides not to collect the medication, you have 10 days to reactivate that pack back to active so that it can be scanned again when it's supplied the next time. Outside of the 10 days, that pack cannot be reactivated. Or the pack cannot be reactivated as it was decommissioned in another location. So even if you borrowed a pack and you know it has been decommissioned as a result of a procedural error at the pharmacy or hospital that you borrowed it from, you cannot reactivate it in a different location. A pack can only be reactivated in the location that it was decommissioned in. What do you do next? Again, despite the fact that you won't get a full-blown an alert has been raised and a unique alert ID, you will still get a link in your FMD software which will bring you to our alert help pages and will provide you with the guidance that you need to identify the root cause if it can be established at your level. Again, if you cannot do that, contact IMVO if you need further assistance. Just for a little more detail with regard to the product code not known alerts. So if you get a product code not known alert, this means the product is not recognized by the IMVS, in that that product does not reside within the database that is drawn down from the EU. Typical root causes for this include the pack is a non-FMD pack, so we do see medical devices or OTC do come with the 2D FMD barcodes, or can come with the 2D FMD barcodes, which means obviously if they're scanned, those products do not exist within the IMVS. Linear barcodes or QR codes can also obviously exist on packs, and on that basis, if they're scanned, it's not going to send the type of information that the IMVS is looking for. If you were scanning a linear barcode by any chance, and sometimes on rare occasions we would see the 2D barcode and the linear barcode on the same side of the pack, we just say put your thumb over the linear barcode or QR code if it's there, so you can just scan the 2D barcode, because your scanner will essentially hoover up every bit of information that it sees. Or the pack has been scanned, was a ULM, and I've already discussed the ULM information, the ULM position with regard to not scanning it, or if you have scanned it, as long as you're satisfied that there's no other issue with it, it can be provided. Scanning 2D barcodes on medical devices and OTC packs will always generate product code not known alerts, as will scanning linear barcodes and QR codes. So your F&D procedures should include steps to avoid such problems. And like I said, those steps can be as simple as identifying the medical device in OTC in advance of scanning it, or if there is a linear barcode adjacent to the 2D barcode, just covering that over with your thumb before you scan the 2D barcode. And all our engagement with MAHs would strongly, we do talk to them about trying to ensure that they don't put any other data within the immediate vicinity of the 2D barcode, so that that's the only information that is scanned. Just with regard to alerts and how they're investigated, and this is just sort of reinforcing some information that we would have provided at previous webinars. End users and MAHs initiate simultaneous investigation of alerts generated in the pharmacy or hospital. What we're asking pharmacies or hospitals to do is to look for procedural errors. Have you decommissioned it twice? And again, by using our alert help, you can identify that yes, that is what has happened. You can document the error in NMVS alerts and the pack can be supplied, so long as there's no reason to suspect it's falsified. Technical issues, scanners or software, we are seeing, and we do see every now and then, issues with scanners and software, which creates data mismatches. And when you can fix those technical issues with your scanner or software, very simply conduct a verification scan to ensure that the system is working and the pack is okay. And if successful, you can supply that pack. Or the MAH is looking for data issues. So, and that's the other side of things. At the same time as a pharmacy or hospital are looking for procedural or technical issues, we know that our MAHs, because they're getting flagged, that they're looking for data issues. And you'll note in the next slide where I talk about how if we see spikes, we go straight for them in terms of trying to ensure that they get checked. MAHs are not required to investigate certain alert types such as double decommissionings, because our experience would be that the root cause is generally at end user side. We can, of course, if we felt that there was an issue with that, with the type of a double decommission scan, that we can't identify the root cause at end user level, either ourselves or the HPRA can ask the MAH to examine that. How do you know what the issue is? So like we've said already, the exception or alert message in your F&D software gives you a high-level summary of what's happened and provides you with that critical link to the alert help page on our Invo website that will assist you in identifying a root cause for the alert and providing guidance on how to fix it if it's something under your control, such as scanner, software, or a procedural error. The other thing which is important to note is we monitor the IMBS for large numbers of alerts, unusual patterns of alerts by product, by batch, or by end user. And we'll contact you if the problem is at an end user, pharmacy or hospital, or the MAH or F&D software provider to take action to prevent further alerts. So essentially, we have these spike alerts built into our monitoring system. And as soon as we see those spikes, we will go to wherever the location of the spike is in an effort to try and resolve that issue in as timely a manner as we possibly can. Because our objective is to ensure that issues leading to large numbers of alerts in given end locations are quickly identified and resolved. Just what happens next? So obviously I've spoken about identifying the root cause and reporting the root cause or recording it in NMVS alerts. IMBO will step in if there's no feedback from the end user or MAH within 2 working days to ensure that the alert is investigated, if not already done. If an end user or MAH does not provide the required assistance or information to enable the investigation to be completed, we are required to escalate this to the PSI or HPRA as appropriate. But certainly it's our intent to always engage directly with the location that has had the alerts, with a view to trying to get as much information as we can so that the alert can be closed before we would ever consider any degree of escalation. Just one issue that we've experienced is particularly with the IMBO alert help pages. Several pharmacies and hospitals have experienced issues accessing the Invo alert help page where they use Internet Explorer as their web browser. Internet Explorer IE11 is now not used anymore by, it's not supported anymore by Microsoft. So what we would say is if you have this problem, using a different browser such as Chrome, Microsoft Edge, or Firefox should resolve the matter for you straight away. Just 2 quick reminders. Can I return packs with alerts to the wholesalers? So the HPRA has confirmed that packs that have generated alerts must not be returned by pharmacies or hospitals to wholesalers while an alert investigation is ongoing, as such packs could be falsified and should not be put back into the supply chain. This applies even if you've ruled out a technical or procedural error on your part. If your investigation and that of the MAH have ruled out all obvious root causes for the alert, the MAH may request that the packs be returned to them for further investigation. The MAH themselves will always provide the details of the process for sending that pack. So that would be as a result of a direct communication from the MAH. If the MAH requests the pack to be sent back via a wholesaler, the pack should not be sent as a standard business return, as it must be processed as a product quality complaint by the wholesaler, which is a separate process to their normal returns process. And then, should I report alerts to the HPRA? Alerts should not be reported by pharmacies or hospitals as suspected quality defects to the HPRA. If a pack is found to be a confirmed falsification after the alert investigation is complete, the MAH is the entity responsible for notifying the HPRA. However, when it comes to anti-tampering devices, even if the barcode scan has been successful, if you've reason to believe that the packaging has been interfered with based on your examination of the ATD, you must report your concern to the HPRA as a suspected quality defect by the usual reporting mechanisms and not supply the pack. Reports of packs being tampered with are to be submitted as suspected product quality defects via the HPRA's online reporting system. And so to conclude, and basically just 2 or 3 slides about the best advice we can give to end users operating after the end of use and learn. Make sure your pharmacy team, including locums, are aware of the end of use and learner and trained in what is involved. And we are doing a special webinar just for locums next Tuesday evening. Intensify efforts to prevent alerts due to software scanner procedural errors. So make sure your scanner is working. There's guidance on our website. Look out for software issues or upgrades. Very important, if your FMD software provider provides an upgrade, we would strongly recommend that you get that uploaded into your computer and you upgrade your FM software in accordance with your FMD software provider's guidance as soon as possible. And also look for patterns of double decommissioning alerts. Are these occurring due to repeated scanning by your own team or from packs borrowed from other pharmacies and hospitals? And can you put in place simple systems to assist in resolving that? Become familiar with NMBS alerts and do please give us feedback on your alert investigations because it's what we need in order to close the alert. Contact us if you need help with anything or have any questions. If you haven't already, please provide us with your preferred email address for alert communications, ideally a generic one. So we would strongly recommend that you use a generic email address for FMD alerts in order to ensure that there's always someone in the pharmacy who can access the email. And all feedback on how we can improve the process is very welcome. So to summarize, if your scanner and software are working as they should and care is taken to avoid double decommissioning and other procedural errors, you'll get very few alerts, and that's our experience. If you do get a level 5 alert, a few quick steps will quickly reveal if there is a root cause at your end. If you find an issue with your scanner and software and fix it, you can supply the pack. If you find a procedural error, double decommissioning, the pack can be supplied. And we strongly recommend that you document your rationale for supplying that pack within NMBS alerts, because that also provides you with a record of the decisions that were taken to supply that pack. If the alert is due to a data error, the MAH or IMBO will quickly pick this up and ensure that the correct data is uploaded and will tell you so you can scan the pack again and go ahead and supply the pack. And do contact IMBO if you need support at any time. We now have extended support hours available, 8 to 8 on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Saturdays, and 11 to 6 on Sundays and public holidays. The other thing that we would remind again is just to take please, an awareness of the ULM and specific Utrogestion advice that we're providing relating to those 4 batches of Utrogestion. For more information, invo.ie is our website, and there's a very extensive FAQ page within help and FAQ link on the site. For all alert or NMBS alerts account related queries, alert.support@imvo.ie. So if you want to change to a generic email address for NMBS alerts, or if you have questions about alerts, alert.support@imvo.ie. If you've other queries, or you just want to ask something about any aspect of our operations or FMD, info@imvo.ie. Our phone number is there, and as I said, that's now answered 8 to 8 during the week and at weekends on the times that I mentioned. We're also on Twitter and LinkedIn. Links there to the HPRA sites, and obviously all these links will be live in the PDF document of the slides that we'll circulate after this webinar. If you're from a HSE site, hse.support@easyfmd.com is the HSE FMD project team email. And there's also, if you want to learn more or have other questions about the EU dimension, there's a European Commission Q&A on safety features available on the IMVO website. So that's all I wanted to talk about in our update this afternoon. What I'm going to do is just stop the recording, and then we're very happy to take questions. And Sarah, I think you've just taken over as host, so if you can stop the recording.